In the year 1933, a Soviet company was established called Ilyushin, which specialized in building aircrafts. Even though it was 1933, it wasn't the first Soviet aircraft company, because we have Tupolev that was established in 1922, making it the first aircraft company in Russia. But this video isn't about Russian history and its aircraft industry. But it's about the airplane that Ilyushin has built for the president of Russia, the Ilyushin Il-96. We have a lot of Ilyushin Il-96 all around the world, which is a passenger aircraft. But the one that was built for the president of the country is very different. It's called the Il-96-300 PU. The PU at the end of the name in Russian stands for command post, and this name is exclusive for the president's aircraft. This plane was originally made in Boris Yeltsin presidency more than 20 years ago. It's interesting to note that he was the first president of Russia after the Soviet Union collapsed. Another fun fact is that this is the first time that the name president is used in Russian history. Because before then, in the Soviet Union, the leaders were called the first secretary. But let's get back to the Ilyushin Il-96 PU. Until the year 2018, no one really knew what the inside of this plane looked like. But after this, Russian media took a full tour of this airplane and showed the world how luxurious and insane the interior looks like. With the help of these videos and images, Western media started calling this aircraft the Flying Kremlin, because when Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, is sitting inside this aircraft, he has everything he needs and everything is very luxurious, just like the Kremlin. You could somewhat compare it to Air Force One, but more luxurious. There's only 2 Air Force Ones for the American presidents, but there is 5 Ilyushin for the Russian president. But it has been said that only one of them are extremely luxurious like this. Like for example, in American culture, it will be very disrespectful to the taxpayers to make the president's airplane very luxurious. It's kind of anti-American. If you know the history of the White House, the presidents that decided to build this structure made it smaller and simpler compared to other palaces like the Buckingham Palace owned palaces in St. Petersburg, to basically show the people that we're here to serve the people and we're not kings. But in Russian culture is extremely different, because the Kremlin is very luxurious and everything that's government building is very luxurious. So why not the airplane as well? But even though it's not as luxurious, the Air Force One costs $2 billion, while the Il-96 PU cost $500 million each. A huge difference between the Il-96 versus the Il-96 PU is that the passenger aircraft can hold 300 passengers and it could fly 11,000 kilometers. And this is in a way where the Il-96 PU can only hold 90 people, which are mostly government personnel and reporters. And another thing is that it has bigger fuel tanks, 14,000 kilometers. Let's not forget it has onboard fueling as well, so it can refuel without landing. When you enter the airplane, your right hand there is a hallway, and on the left side there is rooms and rooms. And once you enter, you really realize how luxurious it is based on the materials you're seeing. On the floor there is a certain carpet that makes it feel like home, and it also makes you feel like you're inside a palace. The materials that are used on the walls, the roof, the lights, and of course the wood are all very high quality, and you could see it. The first room you see in this hallway is Putin's personal office, and the most famous photos you see of Putin inside the airplane is inside this office. And some of these images went viral because you could see a couple Su-35s flying outside the window. In some areas, when this airplane is flying, 2 Russian jets have to escort it. Like for example, inside Russian territory, it's usually not needed. But if they want to go through a dangerous area or an unknown area, these fighter jets will escort the Il-96 PU. But these escorts aren't unique to this airplane because the Air Force One gets the same treatment as well. Most of the time Putin is inside his office, even when the reporters are asking him questions. The next room is basically the kitchen, which is not really a huge kitchen, but it has all types of foods and beverages, which are the finest meat and drinks you could find because the damn president is on board. So you're not gonna see some Ryanair snacks inside this airplane. The next room is the biggest room because it's the meeting area or the war room. Every decision that has to be made on board will be made inside this room. It's basically the same as the Kremlin because the president is on board, and whatever decision he makes in this area is the same as he made it on the ground. And this is basically the reason they call it the Flying Kremlin. Decisions could be made up here and it makes no difference where he is. After this room, it's kind of classified because they've never showed it. But some people speculate that there is a bunch of seatings and it's not special. It's basically for the reporters and the normal employees on board where they can get some rest. But after this room, it has been shown what it looks like because it is Putin's personal room, personal bathroom, and also his personal gym. And the photo of the president's bathroom kind of went viral because it is awfully luxurious for an airplane bathroom. It even has a gold-plated sink, which some may think is ridiculous, but it's the damn president's airplane, so it makes sense. And just like we said, next to this is Putin's personal gym because he likes to stay in shape. It has also been said that on board, there is a mini hospital with a doctor always on board, just in case if anything happens to the president. They also have the president's blood type on board all the time. Alright, let's look at some things outside the airplane. Just like fighter jets and fighter helicopters, the Il-96 PU has flares. So if a rocket or a missile is heading its way, the flares would keep it safe. But just like we said, when the plane is flying in a sketchy area, there will be fighter aircrafts escorting it, just in case shit gets real. It's also interesting to know when Putin came to Alaska a couple weeks ago, when he entered American air, the Russian fighter jets went back to their country and US Air Force F-35s escorted this aircraft until it landed. So they do have deals like this because the Russian fighter jets aren't allowed to fly on American soil, so the F-35s had to take over. Another interesting fact is that when Putin came to Alaska or wherever he goes, there is 3 Il-96 PUs that fly close to each other. And as you know, 2 of these are decoys. You don't know which one the president is in until it lands and he gets out of it. It is also somewhat the same for the American airplane. Wherever the president goes, 2 Air Force Ones go with them. And this is mostly just in case if one of them breaks down or has a problem, the president can fly back with no issues.